What's up guys, Asian here again with another dungeon guide video. This time is going to be a little bit different. We're not actually going to be looking at a dungeon, we're actually going to be looking at Maelstrom Arena. This is the solo arena that you can do to get the coveted Maelstrom weapons. These Maelstrom weapons are often considered best in slot for pretty much every single DPS class. The Maelstrom Inferno Staff, the Maelstrom Daggers, Maelstrom Bows, those are all pretty much best in slot. To get to Maelstrom Arena, you're going to need to have access to the Hrothgar DLC. It is all the way up in the northeast corner of the map, right there. If you haven't found it yet, the best way to do it is to go to that way shrine and travel due east, head up the path located on the map, and you'll find your way to Maelstrom Arena. You'll find a giant Oblivion portal and you can step through it. You can see there, those are my unbuffed stats, and I'm showing you guys, this is what I'm using to clear Maelstrom. I have Molokina's Helm, Heavy Divines. You could use Heavy Shoulders as well. I'm also using Spinners. Spinners for the spell penetration. I'm using Necropotence because I am using a pet build in order to get through Maelstrom. If you're a magSorc, pet builds make Maelstrom a lot easier than any other magSorc build out there. I have golded my weapons. If you are using Spinners, you want Charged as your trait. There are other options you can go for. You can go for IA or Elegant, since this is going to be a heavy attack build, but Spinners was cheaper, and it works just as well. So you see there, those are my unbuffed stats. I have not eaten food, that's why my health is so low. So with food, those are the stats that you're gonna be looking at. One thing to note about Maelstrom is that you can exit the arena at any time. The arena saves your progress as long as you don't abandon the quest. So if you keep the quest, you can exit the arena, do other things, take a break, and you'll be able to return back to where you started or left off. So feel free to exit as long, just don't abandon the quest. These are my bars right here. Front bar, I have Ward, and then I have the Shield, Blockade of Storms as my dot. I have the two pets, Volatile Familiar and the Twilight Matriarch. Volatile Familiar, the ability has provides a lot of DPS. The Matriarch is just there to provide some extra DPS and to pull some aggro from the mobs. Inner Light, as always, for the spell crit and increased magicka, and Shooting Star is the ultimate. On the back bar, I have Power Surge. This is what's gonna help you keep you alive. It gives you the extra spell damage, and it also heals you every time you crit. Liquid Lightning is your AoE dot. Very powerful. Again, you have the two pets, Inner Light, and the Destro Staff ulti, when you need to burn down a boss and a couple of ads all at once. There are going to be several bosses where the Destro ulti is going to be very, very helpful. We're also going to go over my CP distribution right now. I have 81 points in the Magician. Do note that this is going to change in when Morrowind is released, so I'm going to have to play around with the CP points after they take away the reduction passive. But for now, put it in the Magicka reduction. And of course, you have to put points in Magicka recovery. Nothing in the Shadow. Apprentice, going to put most of your points in Elemental Expert, but you can also put some in Elfborn. Do note these CPs are for a different build, so they're not ideal. 75 points in Thaumaturge. You're going to want that because Blockade of Storms sets people off balance. And there's a passive at 75 that will get you 10% extra damage. Now, what I do not have here is I don't have Staff Expert. I should have Staff Expert since this is a heavy attack build. But like I said, these are CP points for a different source build. For your warrior points, Hardy, Elemental Defender. Then I also have points in Light Armor Focus and Spell Shield for the extra resistances. Then I have 10 points in Quick Recovery and 1 point in Bastion. You can move the points over in Bastion to make your ward stronger. It definitely doesn't hurt to have some extra shields, because for the pet build, that ward pretty much doubles the amount of health that you have. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Maelstrom Arena. Maelstrom plays differently than normal dungeons. You have 9 stages you got to go through, and each stage has 5 rounds, except for the last stage. Stage 9 has 6 rounds. The rounds don't necessarily get progressively harder, but each round has its own unique mechanics that you're going to need to learn. I am using Essence of spell power potions. You don't have to bring potions since you have Power Surge up at all times, or you should have it up at all times. That already provides you major sorcery. But it's nice to have potions in case you do start running low on magicka. Since this is a heavy attack build, I don't really have problems with sustain, but there are a few occasions where I do need the magicka because I'm burning down the ads too fast, so I can't get a full heavy attack in and restore my magicka. You'll see that there are a couple of sigils, or what they're called, around the arena. Each one provides a different buff. They do reset per round, so you can use all 4 on one round, and they'll respawn for you to use them again. They will always respawn in the exact same locations per round. Even if you fail a round and die, for example, that power sigil will always be on that location. So if you do die without the sigils, definitely start using the sigils. There's 4 different types of sigils. You have Sigil of Haste, which gives you a speed buff. Fairly useless, but it does have niche use, especially in the final boss. Sigil of Power increases your, obviously, weapon and spell damage. Very useful. Sigil of Defense makes you super tanky. It actually reduces the damage reduction is actually fairly significant, and it's very useful on the boss rounds if you're having difficulty. And the last glyph is the Sigil of Healing. This will provide you a heal over time, much like Regeneration or Mutagen from the Resto staff line. Each sigil lasts for 30 seconds, so you're going to want to grab them. Ideally, you're going to want to figure out when the best time to grab them is for each round. If you're just doing them on the first 4 rounds, or 5 rounds I should say, for Stage 9, you can pretty much grab them in the beginning of the round. Most rounds won't last 30 seconds, but sigils are always good to grab at the beginning to help you burn down the ads. On a boss round, it is recommended to pick them up when there is a lull, because they are usually spread around as you see here. And each boss, sometimes you just want to grab them in the beginning, other times you're going to want to grab them at a strategic moment. That is all based on personal preference. You'll see that I do grab the sigils from time to time at different intervals during the boss fight. So just if you're having difficulty with any of the rounds, definitely use those sigils. Those sigils provide an enormous buff that will make your life a lot easier. This first round here is pretty straightforward. The final boss pretty much just summons ads. It's pretty much just DPS check, more or less. The mechanic for the first stage is that you just have that AoE that follows you around. You just got to kite around it. Even with a channeled heavy attack, like with Resto Stabs and Lightning Staves, you're moving just barely fast enough to outrun it, as you can see there. So first round is not that difficult to deal with. General rule of thumb, if you find the first stage difficult, then you are not prepared for Vet Maelstrom. You either are too low level, too low CP points, your gear's not set up right, or you just need to change your overall build. That first stage is really kind of the test, so to speak, to see whether or not you're ready for Maelstrom. If you can get through that stage with no deaths, you're pretty much set to go. If you're having difficulty, if you're dying, you're going to want to definitely re-examine your build. Maybe change up your gear, change up your rotation, just because if you can't get past that first stage without dying, you're going to have a difficult time in the next couple of stages. Stage 2 here, you can see you have the whirling fans of death. Keep your shield up at all times. There are levers around the arena that you can hit that'll stop the fans from moving. It doesn't retract them, so you can still walk up to them and take damage. While the fans are moving around, you can't go into the center. Obviously, as you can see, it's electrocuted. But if you hit the lever, then you can start going into the center. I personally do not hit the levers usually. It's just easier for me to keep my ward up and just burn down the enemies. For each stage, sometimes there's going to be a priority order to take out the ads, just because some ads are more dangerous than others. You won't really see too much of that in the first 2 or 3 rounds, 2 or 3 stages, but once you start getting into the latter stages, stage 4, 5, 6, and so on, you're going to want to take out certain ads before you take out any of the others. So for this stage, for example, the ones you're going to want to focus on when they come out are going to be the Dwemer spheres there, just because they do provide they have the AoE ranged attack that you just saw there. They do hit relatively hard, so that's why you're going to want to take out Dwemer spheres first. Once you take those out, you can pretty much take out all the rest. Each round has a mini boss, which is basically a 1-star. So, for instance, in this round, the mini boss is a Centurion. So, at the end of each round, or at some point in each round, there's going to be a 1-star enemy. It's slightly more difficult to face, but overall not too difficult. The final fight for the second stage are 3 Centurions, Dwemer Centurions. Once you do enough damage, they will retract and you can't damage them. Or rather, they gain a very large damage shield and basically become invincible. So you're gonna have to rotate between each of the 3 Dwemer Centurions to damage them. All of them have pretty much the same attacks here. They rain down electricity on you. They have a steam breath attack, and then they have that wide AoE attack that's kind of centered on them. It is possible to burn the Dwemer Centurions past the point where they're supposed to become invincible. So if you do happen to do that, then they'll just automatically retract into themselves. I personally have not been able to kill one before they retract, but if you do, then you're a lot better than I am, or your DPS is a lot better than mine. So one common misconception about Maelstrom is that a lot of the battles are DPS checks. There's only a couple of DPS checks during the arena. It's more about knowing the mechanics, knowing the fights, knowing each round and the stages and the mechanics, versus just straight up DPS. You can pull 50k DPS, but if you don't know the mechanics of Maelstrom Arena, you're not going to be able to complete it. So a lot of it is more figuring out the mechanics. As you see, you're just going to take out all 3 Centurions, and you're going to move on to stage 3. At the end of each stage, before you step through the portal, there's going to be a chest that you can collect for gold, a Grand Soulgem, and a piece of purple gear. Those are set pieces that you can only get from Maelstrom Arena. They are not tradable. You can only keep them to yourself. The vet Maelstrom weapons don't come until you complete the arena, obviously. This is stage 3. General strategy for this stage is to avoid being in the water if you can, unless you want to go grab the sigils. But you should definitely avoid the water as much as you can, because it will be electrified at certain points like that. The thing to watch out for are the strangler plants. They spawn in 5 different locations. If you can imagine the map as a square, they spawn on each of the 4 corners, and then they spawn in the middle of the map. So they kind of spawn on the outside of those 3 islands, and then in between the 3 islands is where the 4th one will spawn. You're going to want to kill those immediately, because they will hit you with a attack that slows you down. And as you can imagine, it slows you down to the point where you can't get out of that green poison circle, and then you end up dying. This is one situation where the pets come very handy, because they sometimes will hit the plants for you. and then all you got to do is just got to use your familiar pulse to kill them. The plants don't have that much damage. One ability is normally enough to kill them. So if you do notice yourself slowing down, look around in the 4 spawn locations for a plant. Where I'm standing right now, you can hit 3 of the 4 spawn locations. So I would only have to move if I was very unlucky and the plant spawned on the opposite side of me. Which sometimes, it's happened to me a few times, but I've been lucky so far. Mini boss here is Queen's Champion, has a 2-handed hit, gonna want to block that. Otherwise you might get knocked into the water. Just keep your dots up, and again, if you're slowed down like I am, try to find where that plant is and hit it. If the plant is still up by the time you finish a round, it'll actually retract and become non-aggressive. That's when you can kill it without major consequence. Going to burn through round 3 here. Yeah, so this guide, rather than skipping through the entire arena, or rather the trash mob fights, I'm just going to show the entirety of my run. It just makes it... Maelstrom Arena is one of those places where you kind of want to get a good idea of every single round as best you can. So in the periods where I am not explaining mechanics at the stage or anything like that, or any of the bosses, I will go ahead and turn up the game volume, because sometimes there are audio cues you can use to help you identify, oh, this mechanic's coming up, or the round is over. This is the final boss for stage 3, Lamia Queen. As always, keep your eye out for any of the plants, because plants are going to kill you. She has a scream attack that will stun you. Use break free if you get caught in that. And then she will sometimes rain lightning down upon you. Just keep yourself moving, keep your shield up. You should be fine. There'll be ads that spawn. This is a good spot to use your destruction ulti instead of the shooting star, but I had already used the shooting star. But if you've already used your ultimate, then just slam down your blockade, get your liquid lightning down, get your pet pulse, get all your dots down on the ground, and you should be fine. There we go. That's stage 3 done. You'll see down in the bottom right hand corner you do get a score. There is a leaderboard for highest score. You also get a vitality bonus that you can get 15 deaths and then you lose the vitality bonus. And you can see there I just used the merchant that spawns after every single stage to repair your gear. I would recommend doing it every 1 or 2 rounds, just because you're getting hit a lot. If you happen to be dying, you obviously lose 10% on your armor. So you're just going to want to repair every 2 rounds is probably a good number to shoot for if you're not dying a lot. 3 rounds is probably the most I would suggest doing. That's where I'm comfortable. I normally repair it just after the end of stage 3, end of stage 5, and end of stage 7. So for this stage, there's going to be little tiny Dwemer spheres that will run to the center. They have very low health. You're going to want to burn those down before they manage to kind of situate themselves in that mechanism that they're in. That's because once they do get inside that mechanism and lock themselves in place, they become invincible and they will shoot lightning at you. It's a minor annoyance. They don't hit for too hard, but if you get like 2 or 3 of them, they do end up hitting quite hard just because they're starting to stack up with the dots. For this stage, you're definitely going to want to take out the Dwemer spheres first because they do shoot that giant lightning wall at you. It does a lot of damage. If you have a ward up, it will actually take out most of your ward if you do manage to get hit. So definitely take out the spheres first. And beyond that, the bosses here the mini bosses at least, aren't terribly difficult. Just make sure to kill those small spheres before they can get locked into the mechanism. burn down a drummer spheres first, and you should be fine.
Yeah. What crafted bow were you using?
Knight's Mother.
Did you have a full 5-piece set of Night Mothers?
No, I had a mix of Night Mothers and Unlings.
Okay, because the 5-piece set on Night Mothers is actually really good.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I didn't know which way to go with that. The Hunlings is good too. It's kind of like the stats are reversed. One's the max health, max stamina, and then weapon crit and stuff, and the other one is the opposite way. I remember what I have to look at it. The Hunlings is weapon crit, then stamina, weapon crit, damage, and Night Mother's crit, damage, crit.
Oh, I forgot to put up my shield. I think you put that in the wrong guild, Drow.
Yep, I did.
What? Wrong guild?
Yeah, you put that in the Shogunate instead of Deviant.
My start bar, my Windows thing is covering up what I write.
Yeah.
Why does this thing say I'm supposed to ask Lionel for help? Can we just do that?
Yeah, I think we picked that quest up late, so.
Oh, alright.
I give up.
And right here is going to be the final round for stage 4. Giant Dwemer Spider. Has 3 phases, not unlike the Dwemer Spider at the end of Darkshade Caverns 2. When you see the green circle underneath him, get directly underneath him, sprint there, keep your ward up to protect yourself from the damage, and just follow him around. Don't use any ultimates here because he's going to keep on moving. Once he is done with that move, get out immediately. And this is your best time to use your ultimates. Avoid the fire circles that he drops down. Just keep yourself moving, keep your shield up. Keep your pet pulse up if you can. Blockade, liquid lightning, all that. Second stage is he will start raining down lightning on you. Sometimes he won't have that green circle. At that point, just keep your shield up while you're attacking him. Those are the 3 main stages, 3 forms that this boss can take. This boss is probably the first time many people end up dying because it's sort of counterintuitive. Some of the bosses, like you don't see the green circle and you don't know to get into the green circle. Moving on to stage 5. Stage 5 is where things can start getting a little bit dicey. Just due to the final boss and also the mechanics. 3 islands here. Water is bad. Water will freeze you. Well, not freeze you, but it'll do damage to you, so stay out of the water. One thing to keep aware of. When you see a portal spawn in the middle of those 3 islands, that means that means a troll is going to spawn. Burn that troll down as quickly as you can. He will go to one of the 3 islands and start slamming down on it. After a couple of seconds, he will break that island and make it unusable for that round. So you're going to want to burn those down immediately, especially if he starts coming to the island that you are currently on. He will spawn they will spawn throughout the fight, even in between rounds. You can interrupt them, as you can see there. You can't. He does show the indicator to interrupt, but it's better just to burn them down. One thing to note for pets users here: the Twilight Matriarch won't take damage from the water, but the Unstable Familiar will take damage while it's in the water. So just bear that in mind. You might need to resummon your familiar. I need to resummon your familiar during the fight because it dies due to the water damage. As you can see here, you can easily reach the troll from on any of the islands as long as you're by the edge. Overall, it's not that difficult. At least the first 3 rounds aren't that difficult. Also going to want to take out the archers if you can, just because of their spray attack. And you can see there that was my first death, or second death I should say. Keep your ward up, because sometimes you'll just get overwhelmed by the ads. So the ward definitely helps with your survivability, because as you can see there, I pretty much double my health with the ward.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Didn't know what's going on. Alright everyone, I'm off to bed.
Alright, here's where things start getting a little bit tricky. Frost Atronachs are going to spawn.
I will catch you guys later.
There's 2 ways you can go about doing this. You can keep your ward up and take out the archers first, while kiting around the Ice Atronach. Meanwhile, keep your dots up and like your blockade, and hopefully your Atronach will die while you're taking out the archers. Then you have your ward up.
That's fine. I'll take the night off.
2 Frost Atronach will spawn during this round. So I would just stay on the island you're on, let them come to you, let them walk through your blockade of storms and liquid lightning to get to you. And as always, keep an eye out for the troll. Burn him down if he gets close to your island. Have you done Maelstrom at all?
Yes. Have I completed it on better? No.
I was wondering if you have had, like, what your luck has been with weapons, but...
Yeah. No. I got the patience. Faulkner, though, he's been hitting it hard.
Yeah. I know a couple people in the guild have been attempting it. Round 4 is also a fairly difficult stage to deal with. You can see there I did not keep my shield up, so I died. 2 giants will spawn. Giants have a couple of moves you gotta be careful of. See here, I decided to move to one of the islands where the giants spawn, just so I can burn it down faster. The giants have a frontal cleave attack. They slam their mace down and kind of do a shockwave move. So you just want to burn down the giants as quickly as you can. Get your ground dots up. Keep an eye out for the trolls. The giants have a fear attack. That's probably what's going to be the most annoying thing to have to deal with. As you can see there, I did not burn that troll down in time, so it breaks the platform. Every time a platform breaks, one of those Nereids will spawn. You're just going to take out the Nereid in order to progress to the next round.
I'm gonna send you a can of.
The mini boss in this round is also a giant, comes with a bunch of adds. Despite the temptation, I would not recommend using your ultimate on this stage, this round. You just want to save it for that last boss. Just use your ground dots, blockade, and liquid lightning to burn down the boss. Because you're going to want to save your ultimate for this final round here. So this final round is where a lot of people start tripping up on their first time. I know it took me a couple times to get the strategy down. Start by attacking the boss. She will knock you back sometimes. Just keep kiting around. When she turns red like that, run and sprint to one of the other platforms. She's going to break the platform she's on. If you're on that platform when she breaks it, it's going to hurt. There's a very small chance of you surviving if you are on that platform when she breaks it. She does the first break at about 70%. So when you see her health hit about 70%, that's when you're going to want to move over. Watch out for that red AoE as well. That can be particularly dangerous because it does stun you and kind of knock you back. So once she breaks the second platform, this is where you want to use your ultimate and burn her down as quickly as you can. I don't believe she breaks the third platform, but if she does, then you're pretty much dead. So at this point, just use your ultimate, burn her down, and get on to the 6th stage. The 6th stage is definitely one of the more mechanic-heavy round stages. In fact, the next two stages in general, stage 6 and stage 7, are particularly difficult mechanic-wise. There is some RNG involved in stage 6 and stage 7. Sometimes you can get lucky and pass it without dying. Stage 6 and 7. Sometimes you will get unlucky and you'll just die a bunch of times. So for stage 7 or stage 6, the mechanic you want to be aware of is keep an eye on those pillars. There'll be horrors that spawn throughout the arena. You're going to want to kill them next to the pillars that have the webs on them. If they die and they're not next to a web, they spawn one of the green pustules on the ground. You can use your synergy button to throw it at one of those pillars instead. Although it's usually just better just to light attack them once, lead them to a pillar, and then kill them by the pillar like so. This is going to be very important due to the mechanic of this stage. When you see that indication, a swarm attacks, seek a resonating obelisk. Go to the glowing pillar. There will be a couple spiders that spawn. You can't survive the spiders. So you're just going to stand by the obelisk. They will not attack you. They'll just kind of run around and then scutter away like scared little spiders. Where the RNG starts coming into play is there'll be lightning raining down during all of the 5 rounds. So if you happen to get a swarm indication at the same time that lightning is dropping down, you pretty much need to spam shields in order to survive. Otherwise, you're going to die from either the spiders if you stray away from the obelisk, or the lightning if you stay close to the obelisk. So there's an audible indication of when the lightning is going to fall. It's basically like thunderstorms, a thunderstorm sound. When you hear that, that's when you know the lightning is going to fall, and that's when you should watch out, raise your shields, and just to be safe. While the pillars are unwebbed, sometimes a spider will spawn on top of or right next to the pillars and try to re-web it. Kill those spiders as quickly as you can. You do not want to get all the pillars webbed, because then you won't be able to survive the swarm attack. If you happen to unweb all 5 pillars, it will momentarily stun every single mob in the room, including the final boss. After the stun is over, it'll return back to one pillar being unwebbed and the other 4 being webbed. So one strategy people try to use is unweb 4 of the 5 pillars, and then when the boss spawns, unweb the 5th pillar and then burn her down. Use your ultimate immediately just burn her down as quickly as you can before the stun runs out. Most people will also grab the Sigil of Power for the extra DPS when they use this strategy. But if you happen to wipe on the final boss in stage 6, you're not going to be able to use that strategy. Instead, you're just going to have to fight her the normal way.
Oh, hey, this is Silencer Stazing. I like it. No, stop it. Lucas Film Boss says whether Finn and Poe could become a couple. Why
What?
would you do that? Lucas Film Boss says whether Finn and Poe could become a couple. Star Wars.
Oh. Should I care? I want to see Darth Vader kill more people. That's really all I care about.
But he's dead.
Exactly. I'm fuck Jedi. Seriously. Besides, there's so many better stories if we do Revan.
I'd like to see a standalone Darth Vader movie. You know,
Mandalorians.
in his
You know.
prime Darth Vader-iness.
I guess he did.
Want to cut down more kids.
Yes.
Disney kills the parents.
As long as they don't make him another whiny bitch like they did 1 through 3.
Oh, he doesn't have to say a whole word the whole movie on
Alright, moving into the final round. You can see that I have 4 of the 5 pillars cleared. Boss has spawned. I missed with the pustule. I grabbed the Sigil of Power. Waiting for the other Horver to spawn. Light attack it. Lead it over to the 5th pillar.
I think it would be fun.
It's a swarm attacking, so I decide to forego it and just hide next to the pillar, play the mechanic. Keeping my ward up. Now lead the Horver back to that pillar, and then there you go, stun the boss, drop my ultimate, and I'm going to try to burn her down. My DPS on this build is not very high compared to my other build, just because my CP points are not ideally distributed right now. The boss does have a one-hit mechanic right there, the AoE around her. As you can see, I dodge rolled out of it, thought I was out, turns out I wasn't, and so I died. Unfortunate. Once I respec my CP points, I should be able to take her out. If you do happen to die, a Horver will normally spawn at the start of the round. Just lead it to one of the pillars and let it do its thing. So, if you do not manage to burn her down with that strategy, this is the way the fight goes. When it says the champion becomes empowered, subdue her, it's basically telling you run away. essentially. Just run, avoid the red circles, don't get hit by her. This is a good time to hit these tiny spider ant that will hit you with webs that will slow you down.
I can see where they're going with that.
So you're going to want to just kill those.
We'll find it for you.
And as you can see there, it does get rather unfortunate with the mechanics. A lot of it is RNG based. Swarm showed up as she was doing her AoE attack, and so, you know, you kind of have to decide, what do you want to do? Do you want to
It's a long range, but it's
get out of the AoE, face the spiders? In this case, you should take out, avoid the red AoE, because that is a one-shot. You see there, I accidentally used my ultimate there. I didn't mean to use it, but so be it. When the ads spawn, I recommend taking out the ads first. They're just going to cause huge problems for you as you're kiting around. Don't forget to play the spider mechanic, because those spiders will kill you if you do not play the mechanic. Try to lead the boss over to a pillar that is webbed. She does follow you around despite using ranged moves. And of course, if she does do that one-shot mechanic, move away. This is why you want to kill the tiny version of her as soon as you can, so that way you can actually run out of that circle. Because if she manages to slow you down to that point, there's no way for you to survive.
Totally missed opportunity for cohort.
Let's see here, I'm trying to figure out where the pillar's going to be. Just spamming my shield at this point, try to stay alive.
Okay.
As you can see, that's kind of the luck of the draw with stage 6, and you will see soon in stage 7, the RNG can sometimes screw you. You might be doing everything perfectly, but you have that swarm happening as she is on top of a pillar, does her AoE attack, or there's lightning falling down as you're getting swarmed. It's just sometimes luck of the draw. Don't feel bad if that happens. You just recognize that it was something that was out of your control. A big part of Maelstrom Arena, because it takes about at least an hour. You just need to stay calm, stay cool. If you start getting worked up, definitely take a break. You can save your progress in Maelstrom by just not abandoning the quest. As long as you have the quest for Maelstrom, it'll save your progress. So don't feel like you have to do it all in one go. If you feel like you're being overwhelmed, you're tired, you need a break, definitely go ahead and take that break. It'll definitely help you get your senses straight, and you'll do better with a clear head that way.
Thanks. Oh, this thing. Yes.
Chocolate and blueberries. You know what's really good is jelly made with jalapenos and blue cheese on a cracker.
I'll just take your word for that. Although, jelly.
I went to a party
And this
we had
is
a bunch
the
of foods where it
infamous
was like
stage
things that you
7.
wouldn't
This
think would go well
is,
together, and that was
in
one
my
of the things
opinion,
I
and the
tried.
opinion of other people who I've talked to who have done Maelstrom a lot, this is definitely the hardest stage of the arena. If you can pass this stage, you're pretty much, you have what it takes to finish. It's just a matter of getting past the last 2 stages. So the reason why this stage in particular is so difficult, it's the field mechanics that that you have to watch out for. There are plants there. You see one explode just right there. Those plants will affect you with a very heavy hitting poison. It's called volatile poison. You'll see me get hit with it a couple times in this video. And you see there are 2 green pools over on each side of the stage. If you get hit by that poison, you're going to need to cleanse yourself in those pools in order to get rid of the poison effect. Those plants can spawn in various locations throughout the room, and it's just a pain because they can spawn right on top of you. When your screen goes green like that, there's 4 pads. You can see them surrounded by mushrooms. There's going to be a spellcaster there who's kind of doing a channel attack. Going out to kill those right away, because while they're up, they will continue to spawn plants, and they will immediately explode after they spawn. So you're just going to want to kill them, because more than once I've struggled to find them, and plants have spawned right underneath me. Sometimes it's during a mini boss, sometimes it's during a main boss. The final boss, it's very RNG based, which is why this stage can be so frustratingly difficult. Another mob that you're going to have to watch out for, the archers. Archers will do a focused attack where they kind of glow orange, and at that point they will aim at you after a short period of time, and then basically one-shot you unless you have the sigil of defense, the defense sigil. The archers also have a AoE attack that does poison damage over time. Pets are not immune to this poison, and so they will actually die. If you're using a pet build like me, you're going to need to resummon your pets very often on the stage if they get hit by that archer attack.
Okay.
Just because they can't survive that poison dot. So you see there, I've been afflicted with the volatile poison. I died. I was heading towards one of the springs to clear myself, and didn't quite make it. So this stage is definitely the hardest. It's the hardest for me. It's the hardest for a couple of other of my friends who do Maelstrom on a regular basis. And it's just because those plants can spawn right on top of you at the most inopportune moments. And then you pretty much die because the poison damage is fairly heavy. That Wamasu is probably going to be the toughest mini-boss you're going to have to face during this fight. You will be constantly snared during this fight. Very often one of those spellcasters will be up during this fight, so you're going to need to keep your eye on that and kill them. Then the Wamasu just hits very hard, has a breath attack that hits very hard, does that move. And it's just in general a very difficult fight to deal with. This is definitely the hardest mini-boss. The only suggestion that I have is right when, since it spawns in the same place every single time, I would recommend just placing down your Destro ulti, stick near that spot, burn it down, lay down your dots, and just burn it as quickly as you can. That's the best way I have found to combat that troublesome Wamasu.
No, Mac's really quiet tonight.
What are you up to, Mac? Are you still working on your PvP here?
I'm in PvP.
Oh, okay.
Well, I need
Wait.
potions.
No,
I
dude messed
need
up here.
potions.
Money. And I need Mage's Guild level 10.
I am currently 66 and 29 with 22 killing
Oh,
blows.
there is. Ah, damn it. What is slowing me? Is it the Wamazu?
That has to be one of the best names I've ever seen.
What name is it?
A totally creative name.
Very creative.
Got a new stratagems for dealing with this.
It is. It's a totally creative name. It says so right there.
It does say that.
It's nice that I've started dating a new girl and she's totally supportive of my video game habit.
Yay!
That is pretty badass.
Does she play as well?
She does not.
Is she video game curious?
I think she is.
Alright.
Video game curious. I like it.
And I have noticed that there is a big difference between when you get the killing blow by yourself and when there's other people.
Do you get more if you're by yourself? I'm assuming that's the case.
You get like 1200 AP points if you kill somebody by yourself.
That is not insignificant.
So we need to settle on an alliance.
AD.
AD.
Alright, that was easy.
That's the official guild alliance, but Drow and I are mostly
Even Max says the Argonians are the master race.
Yeah, an AD Argonian.
Wait, what? What's an AD Argonian? Then again, I have a Breton pact, so what do I know?
But if you want EP, I could. It's one. Well, I do not wish to grind another character.
Damn it. That was not smart of me.
Well, I don't wish to either, but it'd be nice if we could all like settle on like, you know, this is you want a PvP, and if we have a PvP night or something,
Okay.
that would be pretty cool.
I think all of Ree's tunes are AD, so she's gonna want to do AD.
That's cool, and I'll grind out an AD tune. You know, we got the expansion coming. Maybe I'll do an AD Warden or something. I don't know.
Yeah, my only AD tune is a Stamblade, so I might respec him out to be a ganker like Mac has.
All my tunes are packed, but I'll create one just for PvP though.
Oh, we could team up, Asian.
Good.
It wasn't that hard to find Hawk. Well, not for me anyway. I got really lucky and found all the pieces I needed day after day.
You got that belt finally?
Yeah, I got it off of somebody else. Somebody gave it to me in another guild.
Man, not
Ah,
gonna complain
damn
about
it.
that.
Forgot to up my power surge.
Yeah, I feel you.
Of course, I'm like, well, I'm just a little bit outside of the camp. Maybe I'll get lucky in some random personal. Nope.
But are there any Jedi Gungans?
What are those?
Jar Jar
Have to
Binks?
be. It doesn't have to be.
I think there was one in the like in the arena that they were in. Like you saw a quick cutscene of him. I want to say that I saw a YouTube video about that. Of course, I might be lying. And my dog will not leave me alone, and I do not know what he wants.
Let's go outside, of course. So you can
I
let him
op-
back in.
I've opened the door before, and he just stood there and looked at me like I was stupid.
Well,
He doesn't want.
dog
He doesn't want
sense
me
things,
to. Only one of them is over here. There's only one other thing I can think he wants.
Food.
I was going to say a tree. A tree, yes, a cookie. So I'm going to give him a cookie so he will leave me alone.
And I just want more cookies. That never works.
And here we are going into the final round. Boss spawns there. You see our going into Behemoth. This is the largest and biggest pain in the ass boss to deal with. That move in particular is probably going to kill you at least once, unless you have this fight down pat. You'll spawn 2 spellcasters. There's always going to be one of those plant people that spawn. He will enrage, kill one of the spellcasters, the other one will cast a shield, burn, attack the boss while he's doing this. Your pets are not immune to the damage, so they will despawn. Once they despawn, I recommend respawning them. And once he's done with that rage, you're going to want to kill that spellcaster as quickly as you can, because he'll knock you down immediately after the shield. As you can see there, another spellcaster has gotten up. I'm trying to find him. Not being very successful, cleansing myself from the poison. Finally found him, going after him. I have not yet resummoned my pet, which is a mistake. I should resummon my pets, they're very useful. And that's where RNG can sometimes get you. Because his bite attack kind of staggers you and stuns you, When that happens, you can definitely be unlucky. Have a flower spawn on you right when that happens. You can't run and purge yourself. Can't shield yourself if you're low on health. And of course, just you're always going to get at least 2 of those plant spawners mobs during this fight. Once during the first summon mages ad spawns, and then usually again after the ad spawn is done. And another thing that might get you is he'll bite as he's enraging, which means you get hit not only by the bite attack but also the enrage that he does, which is, as you can see, pretty much guaranteed death. Again, it's completely RNG. So for this fight, definitely if you're getting frustrated, if you feel like you're struggling, definitely take a break, step back. Just clear your head, get a clear head, calm yourself. You can do all the mechanics right for this fight and still wipe a lot. The best that I've managed to do is 4 bullets. I've died 3 times and managed to kill him on the 4th time. This one I was not as lucky. I think I ended up using up the rest of my vitality plus a couple of extra. So this fight is definitely the most difficult. If again, like I said earlier, if you can get past this fight, then you pretty much have what it takes to complete Maelstrom. It's just a matter of getting the RNG gods in your favor for this fight.
Just hanging out on the shock staff, lightning staff.
God damn it.
Church of Binks, the supreme leader, Snook.
Right?
It definitely makes you rethink things.
See, my minions, this is how it's done.
This one guy, he just took years of burning hatred and in the span of 20 minutes shifted it all into burning brilliance.
I thought it was pretty interesting.
It definitely makes some good points here.
Oh, fuck you, RNG.
Oh, 1% shit, I'm starting to believe.
You've entered the ring. We've prepared a gigantic welcome for you.
finally.
Only one shall survive.
And finally got past that Argonian behemoth. Like I said, very difficult boss. Definitely second toughest boss in the arena, right behind the final one. Stage 8, by comparison to Stage 7, is very simple, pretty much a breeze. The mobs you're going to want to watch out for and take down first are going to be the fire mages. They have a move where they kind of spin fire above their head and just launch fireballs at you. That progressively gets stronger. You're going to want to interrupt that. This one does it right here in a second. Oh, nope. My familiar manages to stun him. When he does do that fire spin move, definitely want to interrupt it. Shield while you're running.
Somebody farm in Blackheart.
Well, and then bash him. Sometimes you'll get lucky. Your final familiar pulse will be right there as you head towards the mage. In which case they stun him, and you don't have to worry about the move. Knight errants, yeah. Now the mechanic for this fight is there's going to be 3 sigil stones around. For each mini boss, you need to break the 1 sigil stone that is whole in order to start damaging the boss. Once you break it, it stays broken, at least for mini bosses. Each mini boss will sometimes come with ads. Just burn down the ads, particularly if there's a fire mage within those ads. And then you can focus on the boss since those sigil stones won't reform.
Bone Pirate.
Yeah. My guess is people still want to farm it while it's good.
Used to be able to fight like that. So far, so good. But the worst is yet to come.
I just want to work my rotation on this magSorc. Seems like a good reason. Got a champion 800 and a champion 755 tank.
The challenger approaches.
I'll take it.
Release the defenders.
Doesn't mean they're good.
Nope. But probably not awful.
Should repair my armor. Forgot to do that.
I must say, let's hope that this time it's more of a contest.
And here we go, heading into the final round for Stage 8. For the final boss, all 3 of the sigil stones are going to be up. Again, you burn down all 3 sigil stones in order to damage the boss. This is a good time to grab the sigils. The boss moves particularly slowly. She'll slowly get faster. So just keep that in mind. Just keep running. Adds will spawn during the fight. You're going to want to take out the fire mages when they spawn. Once you break the 3rd sigil stone, burn her down. DPS her as much as you can. This is one of the bosses that is actually a DPS test. If you don't kill her fast enough, she will actually do a one-shot move where she goes in the center of the arena, does a fire wave, which is a one-shot even if you have shields up. So you're going to want to kill her within 2 breaks of the stone, 1 if you can manage it. If you want to use the Sigil of Power to help you, best time to grab it is right before you break the 3rd Sigil Stone. Drop an ultimate, use all your ground dots, your abilities, burn her down as quickly as you can.
Your dexterity.
And here we go, entering the final stage, Stage 9. If you recall from the beginning of this video, I know that was about an hour ago, this stage does not have 5 rounds. This stage actually has 6 rounds, with there being a mini-boss on the 5th round towards the beginning, and the final boss of the arena showing up as the 6th round. Archers, again, they have the taking aim, which will one-shot you. Find them, interrupt them, or kill them when they glow orange like that. Avoid the ghosts, the white ghosts at least. They will give you a debuff where they will apply a cold damage over time and slow you down. You don't want to be slowed in this fight. It makes avoiding the enemies a lot more difficult. Daedroth, burn them down as quickly as you can as well. These are pretty much identical to the crematorial guards in White Cold Tower. They will breathe fire on you and follow you around while they breathe fire. The other priority target are going to be necromancers. They don't start spawning until I believe it is the third round. They will spawn towards the edges of the arena and start heading towards the center. Make sure they do not get to the center of the arena. If they get to the center, they will spawn a Bone Colossus. You're going to have to kill the Bone Colossus in order to finish the arena, or that round. So general order of attack is going to be the Necromancers first, followed by the Archers, and then everything else. Daedroth are on top of the list. There will also be Ogrims that spawn. Those will throw fire at you, which will leave a fire AoE. You're going to want to take those down as well. So, again, it's Archers or Necromancers, then Archers, then the Daedroth, then the Ogrims. You'll see that there are gold ghosts flying around. You do actually want to touch the gold ghosts. When you collect 3 of them, you'll have access to a synergy that will stun everybody in the arena. This also includes the final boss. So one strategy that some people use is they save up 2 out of the 3 required to get that synergy, and then collect the 3rd one during the final boss fight and use that synergy to stun them and then burn them down.
Does anybody have any pristine water?
I might. Give me 1 second. I do. How much do you need?
Not that much.
1,000.
Yes, 1,000. Just enough to get the from 10 to 20 off of me.
Oh. So I'll just give you this. If you need more.
Oh, that should be fun. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't think I want to pay for a photo like that without reading on it first. Did you die again? And you didn't?
Who's that directed to?
Mr. Smith.
It's me, I'm playing around in Maelstrom.
Oh, you're playing around in Maelstrom.
Yeah, not very well, but I'm playing around.
Are you on normal? Oh, you just jumped right into that, huh? Really? Well, why didn't you lose the group? Huh.
A good rule of thumb that a lot of people use is if you can't get past the first... This is round 5, the last round before you face the final boss. Starts off with a Daedroth ad and a couple of, I believe it's a melee ad. Burn those down. Once you kill them, the mini-boss will appear, Ash Titan. Pretty similar to Ash Titan from Crypt of Hearts 2, or not crit before City of Ash 2. This is a good time for you to use your ultimate, burn the Ash Titan down, because he will do that fire wave attack from Ash Titan from City of Ash 2. If you don't recall what that move is, he will knock you back and then breathe moving fireballs that will stun you if they happen to hit. You can kite around them. My DPS is not quite high enough to burn him down quickly enough, even with a shooting star. You can use a Sigil of Power at the beginning of the fight, or a Sigil of Defense at the beginning of the fight to make it the fight a little bit easier to deal with.
Yeah, I'm sure I definitely have to rethink my strategy.
What stage are you on?
I'm still on stage 1, just the final boss.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get used to him, but when all those ads come out, is where I seem to have problems.
Yeah, focus the ads if you're having... Is it easy to get to the boss, though?
Yeah, getting to the boss wasn't a problem,
Okay,
but it's just getting used to.
right. Maelstrom
Used
is
to him.
very much knowing the mechanics.
Okay.
Very much. That's what it's all about.
I mean, that time I tried it with no pet. I mean, I went in there with pets before, but I don't ever play with pets, so I didn't feel like I had any. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to do between the pet, both pets on
Right.
both bars, and then Daedric Prey or whatever it's called. Didn't leave a lot of damage.
And this is it. We've made it to the final boss. Don't take any of the sigils starting off. You'll spawn in the middle. Get all your buffs up. When he charges his staff like that, make sure you have your shield up and block, otherwise it'll knock you back. You'll then port. He will channel an attack where he launches skulls at you. Run, dash to him as quickly as you can. Interrupt that move. Those skulls will continue to deal damage to you, and they increase in damage while it's in effect. When he hits about 70% health, he will teleport up to the second stage of the arena, upper stage of the arena. There will be lich crystals that come around, just avoid those. Find a glowing pad, get one of the clan fears to the pad, kill it near the pad. That'll let you use it, and you can port yourself up. Make sure you have crit surge up, your shield, and start attacking the crystals. Keep an eye on the boss in the center. He will launch skulls at you that can knock you back down to the first level, and you'll have to teleport yourself back up. He will sometimes then summon a wall. Get behind that wall and move with the wall. If you don't, he will knock you back down the stage. It's pretty much a guaranteed knockdown. All throughout the fight, you're going to have to deal with those fireballs as well. Once you break the third crystal, he will move back down to the center of the arena, the first stage of the arena where you just were, and you will continue the fight there. Just keep an eye on him, make sure to block those skulls so you're not knocked back down to the arena. See there, once you break the third one, you're immediately knocked back down here. Get out of the lava, put your shield up, and basically start getting ready to burn the boss down. This is a good time to start using the sigils. I like to grab the fence first, put some dots down on him, grab the power one next, and then depending on where I'm I have him down. If he's at about 40%, I'll also grab the Sigil of Healing. Sometimes I won't do it though.
At least you would think.
Just keep attacking him down, burning him down. At some point, he's going to reach a burn phase. You will see it in just a second here.
She is 35 years old.
This is the burn phase right here, but I kill him before he enters it. When you hit the burn phase, he will say something like, this is the end. Drop your ultimate, drop everything you have right on top of him. You need to burn him down. Spam shields, put a blockade down, spam shields, put a blockade down. Normally when he does it, he has about 100,000 health left or lower, so at that point it's just a matter of spam your shields and just slowly burn him down. That's it. That's Maelstrom Arena. Don't give up. First time is always the hardest, but you can do it. As always, hope this helps. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next dungeon.